What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman, and oh boy, guys, there was two main stories that have been circulating over the interwebs this week, and one of them was largely pushed by the media. The other one was largely ignored. The first one being the shooting of a young teenager by a Kansas City 84-year-old man. And the other was rioting in Chicago and the beating of this woman here. Unfortunately, because America is, falling into stupidity and idiocy and ignorance, we have to make everything about race. And when in reality, at least in my opinion, these stories have nothing to do with it. Let's get into it. So with this picture here, you see that there's a woman who just so happens to be white, who is standing in and amongst a crowd of black teenagers. 99% sure this happened in Chicago. Okay. She was surrounded, and from what you can see at first glance of the video, it appears that she is attacked by this massive group of teenagers. A little bit more context on that is that she was actually pulled away from the crowd, and another man was attacked who was a black person. Okay? This story had nothing to do with race. However, it shows that the media is not willing to show the massive amounts of rioting in the streets of Chicago and the massive amounts of crime in states like New York, in cities like New York City, the massive amounts of crime in Los Angeles. It shows that they're not willing to show that. But they will show this, though. A Kansas City homeowner accused of shooting a black teen charged with 2 felonies from the Hill. An 85-year-old Kansas City homeowner, Andrew D. Lester, who allegedly shot and wounded a black teen last week after he went to the wrong house, was charged with armed assault on Monday evening. The teen, Ralph Yarl, 16, was shot twice and had been in critical condition since last Thursday after he went to the wrong address to pick up his younger brothers. Yarl is now recovering at home with his family. Guys, this is not news. Okay, let me give you some context on this story now. Young black teenager, is going to pick up his brothers. He accidentally goes to the wrong house. Okay, so he's ringing the guy's doorbell. The homeowner is Andrew D. Lester, 85-year-old man. Okay, this guy, he's wondering why someone is ringing his doorbell that late at night. It was like 10 o'clock at night. He was about to, the homeowner was about to go to bed from what he said. And he was freaked out that somebody was ringing his doorbell that late at night. So the guy goes to his front door, opens his front door, and there's a kind of a glass door in front of that. Ralph Yarl, the young teenager, seeing that the door is being opened and believing that he is at the right house, begins to try to open the door, try to open the glass screen door on the outside, and the homeowner shoots him, believing that someone is breaking into his home. Obviously, that is an insane, tragic story that it's just tragic. Now the Ralph Yarl is at home with his family. He was shot twice, but he was shot in the head, and then he was shot in the arm, I believe. But he's at home now. He's recovering. Obviously, that would be tragic for anyone, but he is alive, and that's good. We want to celebrate that. However, the media just had to make this about race. They had to make this about race instead of being what it actually was. This was a homeowner who believed that this young man was trying to break into his home. Obviously, Ralph Yarl was at the wrong house, and when the homeowner opened his door, Ralph Yarl tried to open the screen door to enter the home. Obviously, believing that he was at the right home to pick up his brothers. It's a tragic story, but at the end of the day, I personally believe this homeowner had every right to defend his property. Now, should you have made a little bit of better judgment? Should you have slowed down a little bit and made sure that that's the right decision to make? Sure, you can say that. But in my opinion, we have a right to defend our homes against people who we believe are trying to attack us or harm us in some way. My advice to young people, hey, if you're going to pick up, if you're going to someone's house and you have to ring the doorbell, don't just try to enter the home. I don't care why you're there. I don't. Don't just try to enter the home. You wait until the person who is the homeowner or someone who lives there says you can come into the home. That's what you do. You don't just try to open the door because that's somebody's house. And you could very well be in a situation like this where you're at the wrong house. Now, like I said, both of these situations were made out to be about race. This story was spread all over the internet in response to this story because obviously there's just no news here. Whenever you hear the context of this story, there's no news. It's just a tragedy. And stuff like this happens all the time. 84-year-old believing he's being broken into, he shoots a teenager. And yeah, he might have been wrong. But at the same time, the teenager shouldn't have tried to open the guy's door and come into his house. Like, it's just a tragedy, guys. It has absolutely nothing to do with the race of the people involved. So this story was kind of circulated in response to this one because this one was plastered everywhere, whereas this story was not covered at all. Now, this story also has nothing to do with race. Guys, if we keep pushing this absolute insanity, this racial division, it's only going to get worse. And guess what? You will have a race war in this country. I'm dead serious. You freaking will, man. This is getting out of hand. Martin Luther King Jr. judged people by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. These people that are attacking this woman and this other man, these people are criminals, not because they are black, but because of what they are doing. They're beating people. They're beating innocent people. That is how you do that. That's how you judge people on the content of their character, not on the color of their skin. Hey, these people, they're criminals because they beat up this woman and another man, not because they're black. And guys, I get so frustrated with this. You see rioting and things like that in Chicago and New York City. Yes, it's primarily black people. However, whenever you see rioting in Los Angeles, it's primarily white or Hispanic people. Guys, it's not just black people that riot. It's not just black people that commit crimes. It's not just, you see what I'm saying? This has absolutely nothing to do with race. But we push this idea that is being thrust upon us by the algorithms and by the media manipulation in order to get us to hate each other. Stop doing that crap, guys. If somebody says, hey, you should hate this person, you should say why. Not just, oh yeah, sure, I'll go right along with that. I'll just hate that person like you told me to. Guys, do your own freaking research, man. And realize that not everything is as simple as race. Not everything is that simple. Not everything is that black and white. In fact, I would say that most things are not that black and white. Okay? We got to stop this, man. I'm obviously a white guy. I'm married to a black woman. Okay? You look at relationships like Bill Burr. Okay? He's married to a black woman. These are perfect examples of the fact that people of different races can absolutely come together and love each other. That's a fact. That's reality. But yet, the media would have us believe that, oh, black people are doing this, or white people are doing this, or Hispanic people are doing it. It's all manipulation, guys. It's all manipulation. It's all propaganda. They want you to hate each other so that you won't hate them. That's the reality, guys. The more they can get you to hate your neighbor, the less you will look at them and hate them for the things that they are doing to you. We got to stop this, guys. We got to stop this. All right, I'm going to have another story coming for you in just a second. But before I get to that, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comments section. If you like my commentary on these stories here, tell me down in the comments. If you don't, let's debate about it. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a conversation. But if you're going to be a jerk, I'll just block you. You know, I got no time for that. If you want to have a genuine conversation, let's do it. If you don't, I got no time for it. All right, let's get into this next story here from the New York Post. 14 U.S. Special Forces on the ground in Ukraine. Pentagon leaks shows nearly 100 special forces from 5 Western countries, including more than a dozen Americans, have been operating on the ground in Ukraine, according to a leaked document. The classified document, dated March 23rd and marked secret, revealed that the U.S. had 14 special forces in Ukraine as of last month, reported The Guardian. The Post could not independently verify the authenticity of the file, while the document included no further details about the service members' exact location of or the nature of their activities. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told Fox News on Wednesday that a small U.S. military presence was located at the embassy in Kiev to monitor military aid sent by Washington to help Ukraine fight off the Russian invasion. The UK has deployed 50 of its elite fighters, accounting for more than half of all Western special forces allegedly active in Ukraine. NATO members Latvia and France have purportedly sent 17 and 15 special forces respectively to assist Kiev, while the Netherlands has deployed a sole service member overseas. The file revealing the presence of at least 97 Western service members on Ukraine soil was part of a cache of documents, some marked secret and top secret, that were initially posted on the online gaming platform Discord last month. The highly sensitive documents containing U.S. intelligence assessments of Ukraine's military capabilities and vulnerabilities, along with information about allies, have since been making the rounds on social media sites. It was previously reported that the leak has prompted Kiev to amend its plans for Ukraine's anticipated spring counteroffensive, a claim the government has denied. The Justice Department has launched an investigation to identify the source of the damaging leak. That guy has since been caught. Apparently he was like a 21-year-old reservist. I think maybe he was in the National Guard. I can't remember if it was National Guard or if he was a reservist. I'm not sure. But guys, this is insane. This is insane. Do you seriously think that now apparently Russia looked at these and said, "Oh, this is propaganda from the West to try and confuse us." Do you seriously think that Russia does not look at NATO soldiers, NATO special forces operators on the ground in Ukraine as interference in this war? And mind you, this is a level of interference that absolutely dictates or it calls for a declaration of war from Russia on NATO. I'm sorry. They're like, what else are the Russians supposed to think of this? Oh, they're just there because, they just wanted to visit. You know what I'm saying? They're just there because, they're just chilling, right? You know what I'm saying? After the Nord Stream pipeline got blown up, you seriously think that Russia's not looking at these special forces operators like, very interesting. Guys, this is insane. Now, I've never been a huge proponent of getting out of NATO until now. I'm going to be honest. The fact that the UK has over 50 special forces operators on the ground in Ukraine, guys, the UK is our NATO ally. Okay, that is a military alliance. If Russia decides, hey, the UK, you guys are in Ukraine fighting our forces, that's a declaration of war. We're now at war with you. Guess what, guys? That drags us into a nuclear conflict. ICBMs raining down on a city near you. Is that the world that we want to live in? Why on earth can America not just stay out of everybody's business? Now, I get it. You know what I'm saying? We want to protect our allies and things like that, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, this war, we have no business here. This is a border conflict between two bordering nations. We are all the way on the other side of the planet. We have no business here. This has nothing to do with us. And not only does it have nothing to do with us, we have nothing to gain from this. Our military stockpiles have been depleted, helping a Ukrainian Ukrainian war effort that is failing, according to these documents. According to these documents, now, of course, the government came out and said that, these documents were doctored. Okay, but then right after the release of those documents, you went and arrested a guy for releasing those documents. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if they're real or not. Whatever. But according to these documents, the Russians have only lost about 17,000 troops in terms of deaths. Okay, casualties and deaths are not the same thing. In terms of deaths, Russians have only lost about 16 to 17,000 troops, whereas the Ukrainians have lost about 70,000. Guys, if these documents are real, we, the public, are being lied to. Our military stockpiles that are used to protect us in the case of a war are being depleted, all to help a Ukrainian effort that is failing, and you're being lied to about it. Hundreds of billions of dollars being given to a failing war effort. Think about that. Hundreds of billions of dollars being given to a failing war effort while you can't afford to put gas in your car, while you can barely afford groceries, while you can barely make rent. Hundreds of billions of dollars to these guys so that they can continue to blow each other up and kill each other. Whereas you just want to eat, man. That's all you want. That's it. We just want to eat. We just want to have food on our tables. We just want to have gas in our car. That's all we want. That's all we're asking for. But no, we can't. God forbid the government give us hundreds of billions of dollars. They're going to go give it to Ukraine so that they can continue to kill each other and blow each other up in a completely senseless and stupid war. It's insane. It's stupid. This is absolutely ridiculous. They're bankrupting our country. Inflation is through the freaking roof. Still through the freaking roof. Guys, we have to be doing better. We have to be protesting. We need to be calling up our representatives saying, hey, why is this happening? This is not what we want. And if you don't fix this, we're going to primary you. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. You need to be calling your representatives saying, this is not working. Fix it or you're out of here. That's what needs to be done, guys. Call up your representatives, send letters to your representatives, send emails to your representatives, show up at their office, whatever you got to do, man. I don't care. Just do something. We have to do something. We have to be better, because at the end of the day, the government is only going to look out for the government. They don't care about you, obviously. I mean, my goodness, we've got a freaking crisis at our southern border that they could have fixed a whole freaking, 5-6 years ago, and they've done nothing. They've done absolutely nothing. Whereas they will send hundreds of billions of dollars worth of cash and military equipment over to Ukraine so that they can secure their borders on the other side of the planet. So Ukraine can have secure borders, but you get to, you get to die of fentanyl, and your children get to be sex trafficked across the southern border. Screw you, but we love Ukraine. That's what our government says. That's what our government says. Our government, the United States government, has looked at the citizens of the United States and said, screw you. We don't give a rat's rear end about you. Oh, but Ukraine, we'll give them hundreds of billions of dollars because it fits our interests. It fits the interests of the military-industrial complex. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And the fact that Americans are not more ticked off about this, I got to be honest with you guys, it's frustrating. Why are we not in the streets protesting this? I get it. We had an anti-war rally at the Capitol that happened. I know that there was some big time names there, but guys, that's it. One rally, guys. The government doesn't care about that. They don't care. You have to make them listen. You have to force them to listen. And I'm not talking about using violence to do so. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you should be in the streets. You should be showing up at their office saying, hey, if you don't fix this, we're going to primary you and you will be out of a job. You will be working at your local McDonald's rather than being in local office. That's the ultimatum that we, the citizens, should be giving them. This is according to these documents, this is a failing effort, and they're lying to you about it. And they're taking all of your money and giving it to a nation that no one in America cares about, except for some far left crazy people. All right, guys, I'm going to have another story coming for you in just a second. But before I get into that, make sure you guys are following me on Rumble. We all know that YouTube likes to censor people. They don't like content like this. So go ahead, make sure you guys are following me on Rumble at Freedom Fire Podcast, and let's fight back against the YouTube and social media left-wing censorship of our opinions. All right, let's get into this, guys. From Timcast, GOP-led states rank highest for economic outlook. New report says Republican-led states rank at the best in the nation for economic performance, according to a new report that ranks all 50 states. The American Legislative Exchange Council's annual report entitled Rich States, Poor States considers a number of factors influenced directly by state lawmakers to create its economic rankings. Utah, North Carolina, Arizona, Idaho, and Oklahoma are the top 5 states in the economic outlook rankings for 2023. The 5 worst states are New York, Vermont, Minnesota, New Jersey, and Illinois. The proof is in the pudding, Jonathan Williams, Alex chief economist who co-authored the report, told the Center Square. Utah was the fastest growing state in the country by population, over 18% population growth in the last decade. So one of the key themes that we see, not just in Utah, but in so many of the top 10 or the top half of the states, is that states that get it right with policy are getting it right with migration as people continue to vote with their feet. Taxpayers are continuing to vote with their feet against high-tax states and going towards states that offer more economic opportunity and really a better quality of life and a lower cost of life. In considering its rankings, analyzes variables such as a state's gross domestic product, domestic migration data, non-farm payroll employment, top marginal personal income tax rate, top marginal corporate tax rate, and property tax burden. Among the other factors considered are a state's debt service as a share of tax revenue, minimum wage, and public employees per 10,000 residents. This isn't just a theory, Williams said. These are the items that we know both from an academic perspective, these policies that we track, things that we know matter just from a historical perspective, but then now in the last 16 years, it has been just phenomenal to look at. It's not just a theory, it actually works in practice. The data indicate a difference in economic outcomes by party affiliation. Overall, the top 10 states are nearly all led by Republicans, while the worst 10 states are all led by Democrats. The states that follow the free market formula for keeping taxes low and keeping regulations limited, empowering workers, empowering taxpayers across the board are the fastest growing states in America, Williams added. Let's take a look at it, guys. So the outlook for all of the states based on economic growth and competition, or you can read it right here, examining the latest movements in state economic growth and competition. The best states are more yellow. The worst states are more white. As you can see, this is kind of a grid pattern of the United States. You look at Arizona, Utah, Nevada, Idaho, Wyoming, you look at Florida, you look at Texas, Oklahoma, you look at New Hampshire, guys, Alaska it has a better economic outlook than Hawaii and California and Oregon and Washington. Guys, it's very clear. When you have these left-wing ideologues who are pushing this socialistic and in some areas communist type economic policy, this is what you get, guys. The free market has always beat out communism. Always. It has always beaten it out every time. Now, the only issue that these Republican-controlled states are facing is that the federal government is still dragging them down. That's it. In terms of their own well-being and how they're doing, in terms of their own economic policies, these are phenomenal economic policies. They're doing incredibly. Whereas the left-wing states are falling behind. Now, obviously, states like California, Oregon, Washington, they've still got decent economies as of right now. But you have to understand, this is the outlook. This is how everything is going to be in the future if everything stays the same as it is now. For example, California, they are talking about giving people millions of dollars in reparations, even though California was quite literally never a slave state, which is insane. They're talking about banning, or excuse me, they're not talking about it. They have passed legislation to do so. They are banning the sale of new gas-powered vehicles in the state of California after 2030, I believe, 2030, 2035, something like that, somewhere in there. Which, of course, is just going to utterly destroy their oil and gas production in the state of California. Guys, it's the proof is in the pudding. Just like this guy said in this article, the proof is in the pudding. Okay, that you cannot deny that these things are happening. Look at all these different factors, these different variables that they take into account. Top marginal personal income tax rate, top marginal corporate income tax rate, personal income tax progressivity, property tax burden, sales tax burden, remaining tax burden. As you can see, the majority of things that are a drag on the economic system is taxes. Guys, I don't know if you know this or not. California, Oregon, Washington, New York, all of the Maryland, all of these blue states, they will tax the ever-living crap out of you. And people that know they know that already. But they will tax the ever-living mess out of you, which absolutely destroys the economic growth of your state, because you've already got the federal government that's going to tax you to death. Then you've got the state on top of that that's making it even worse. Guys, it's very clear. There's one side that if you want growth, if you want to be able to grow a family, if you want to be able to grow a business, if you want to live comfortably and be able to live cheaply with high quality homes and whatnot, you have to vote Republican. I'm sorry, that's just reality. It's very clear, guys. The reality is that the Republican system of economics, it works better than the left-wing system of economics. This socialistic, communistic ideology does not work, and it has never worked. You look at countries throughout history that have tried that, it doesn't work. Guys, if you are in a red state, obviously you have been probably seeing a large influx of immigrants from these left-wing states, these asylum seekers, if you will, who are fleeing the tyranny and the destruction of their left-wing states that they're coming from. You need to get to these people and you need to say, hey, don't turn this place into the place that you fled. There's a reason why this place is so nice. There's a reason why Texas is so nice. There's a reason why Oklahoma is so nice. There's a reason why Florida is so nice. There's a reason why North Carolina is so nice. It's because we vote a certain way. And if you want to have a good life here and not turn this into what you fled from, then you also need to vote a certain way. Now, obviously, there's going to be some people who don't follow that. But I feel like you could probably convince the majority of these people that, yeah, that's probably right. I'm very glad to see this. I'm very glad to see that ultimately, in terms of economics, the right is winning. That's just the reality. You can't look at these facts and say that the right's not winning economically. Now, the left still has some control in terms of ESG and DEI programs, but those things are becoming more and more. They're not beneficial for these businesses. They're becoming more and more of a drag on these businesses and making it harder for these businesses to be profitable. So yeah. I'm very excited to see this. I'm very glad to see that the right is winning economically. Guys, that is going to be the show for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and share this show with your friends. And follow me on all the socials down in the description. And hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we're putting out new videos. Make sure you go follow me on Rumble so that we can fight back against the censorship that is happening on YouTube and all over social media. And I will see you guys in my next video on Friday. I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.